Well, let's get into today's top stories, and we're starting with some sad news we're struggling to believe tonight. Melbourne's beloved and mischievous Catholic priest, Father Bob Maguire, has died aged 88. Anthony Albanese was among those to pay tribute to the self-proclaimed larrikin, the PM describing him as a great Australian and an irrepressibly cheerful champion for all those battling disadvantage. The Salvation Army's Major Brendan Nottle says Bob was loved by so many because he wasn't about power, he was about people.
Huge character, larger than life, with a huge heart, and a huge heart for the most vulnerable. And I think that's how we really need to remember Father Bob.
An embarrassing hot mic moment for Mark McGowan on the first day of his trade mission to China. The WA Premier was caught on tape bad-mouthing Andrew Hastie, the federal Shadow Defence Minister.
The other Western Australian who was senior was Hastie was, he saw like something, you know, cold water, peeled it back in when he was born, and he couldn't get his mind set out.
Hastie, a former SAS officer, responded by declaring that McGowan had undermined national interests and was out of his intellectual depth.
The camera revealed what he has been saying behind closed doors. And so my question is, what else has he been saying? This is a prison guard looking for work now that the pandemic has finished.
It's so awkward, isn't it, when you say something about somebody and they hear what you've said, or vice versa when you walk in and you're in grade 5 to the girls' toilets and you overhear people talking about you.
Oh. What did they say? Dazzling Monty?
Yeah, they weren't saying dazzling Monty at all. There was no dazzling in the words those girls were using, that's for
you're
sure.
amongst friends, you can share.
Oh, I can't. I was too traumatic. I just blocked it out. But I remember thinking, you dinguses, why are you talking about me in the toilets? Yeah. You're in a toilet. You can walk in. It's like him talking with a mic on. I know he forgot, but it's so silly.
I thought you meant acoustics. It was like, it's going to project
in
the bathroom. Like,
no, they were hiding in a cubicle. And I'm like, I walked in and I can hear you. I can hear everything that you're saying.
You know the solve, though? Like, it's like that thing if you're messaging about your friend about someone else and then you accidentally send that to someone else. The quick solve, you just throw your phone away. And then
it's go away.
It's fine, it's gone. Yeah, and then you're fine.
I was doing a stand-up show once and I was backstage and I could, I was quite close to the front row, but they couldn't see me and I heard the audience getting sad. And I heard a lady say to her friend, she goes, "Have you seen Sam before?" And the friend was like, "Oh, once. It was terrible. Hopefully he's better this time." Yeah.
So were you better this time?
Well, look, I got this job, so maybe. I don't know.
No. But were you better this time?
No, I wasn't, Waleed. It was a terrible show, and I eyed them off, and I said, "Go bully Monty in the toilet after this."
Well, perfect weather conditions have been forecast for tomorrow's solar eclipse. That is great news for the tens of thousands of eclipse chasers. It's a real term, expected to descend on the remote WA town of Exmouth. It's one of the few places on the planet where you can view it in totality. Joy Daniels has come all the way from Canada, and this will be her 7th eclipse.
After seeing my first totality, I was so struck with wanting to see everyone I could forevermore that I sold my house to get the money to be able to travel for the rest of my life.
Commitment like that I love.
I love her.
You love her?
Yeah. Well, I don't mean personally, but isn't that great? I like you can be that moved by nature.
Yeah, or just anything, to be that passionate about it that you would sell your house to chase it. I just am not that passionate about anything. Like, I wouldn't even sell my house for my kids. Like, no passion.
I don't understand all the rage about solar eclipse. Like, are they that excited? Like, it gets dark every night and you can be like, yeah, there you go.
Sam.
Is that not the same thing?
Like, it's a lot of effort to look at the sky and not see the sun.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
And isn't it just a hindrance? You're going about your day and then bang, oh, it's dark.
No, but astrologically... Because astrologically as well, it also means like it's representative of this huge new chapter in your life. This is the signpost for you. Everything that you have been putting off or you've been wanting to do, you do it now.
She's going to start reading out
But you could just look at a motivational meme and you get the same result.
I don't think so.
Well.
And Labor has unveiled its electric vehicle strategy in a bid to have draft legislation ready by the end of the year. The strategy involves improving affordability and supply, as well as introducing a fuel efficiency standard. That could see car makers penalised if their fleets do not meet certain emissions limits.
Australia and Russia are the only 2 developed countries without fuel efficiency standards in place or under development. That position should not be allowed to continue.
Aussie entertainment legend Barry Humphries remains in a Sydney hospital tonight. The 89-year-old was admitted following complications from hip replacement surgery. He's said to be in a serious condition but comfortable, with friends and family at his bedside. Social media has also been flooded with well wishes for Dame Edna's alter ego.
They've found me a better seat.
Melbourne Grammar's openly gay school captain is taking on the Presbyterian Church. Daniel Cash has criticised the church for wanting to ban gay students from leadership roles at its schools, including Scotch College. Any student who's had sex before marriage would also be banned. The church claims it's because those students wouldn't be able to give appropriate Christian leadership.
Daniel Cash joins us now. Daniel, I understand you're not at a Presbyterian school, but how did you feel when you heard the Presbyterian Church's stance?
Well, to be honest, Waleed, it's quite shocking to me. I mean, I've had the good fortune of being raised in an environment, in a school and with a family that's very inclusive and very accepting, and my whole journey I've been okay with who I am. So to see something like this in the Presbyterian Church is, well, it's shocking and confusing, and to be honest, it was met with, by me and by my peers too, a kind of confused awe, because my generation, one of its strongest points is its disinterest for sexuality in a very kind of gentle, accepting way. And yeah, so that disinterest, I think, has characterised the response that at least I have seen from my peers and from my friends. That kind of shock for why the church would even believe that sexuality has a bearing on leadership or a bearing on the identity of students to a degree where you might discriminate in this way.
Well, Daniel, I understand that you're not religious. As far as the Presbyterian Church states in regards to a gay captain, it says that it wouldn't be able to give appropriate Christian leadership in a Christian school which requires modelling Christian living. What do you make of that?
To be honest, I think it's, from my opinion, a very harmful and almost cruel reading of the Bible. I mean, the central teaching which Christ exemplified in his life is to love others as you yourself would like to be loved. So I see no fault in one's Christianity if they're a good person, if they're kind, and if they love others as they'd like to be loved. So something such as being gay, or as the submission maid stipulates, having premarital sex, that has no bearing on the quality of your leadership or even on the quality of your identity. So I think that even people who aren't Christian can, in that sense, model Christian living if they practice integrity and they're good, decent people.
You're calling for the church to change its stance. Do you think this will happen?
Well, the Gospel of Luke tells us to be open and open-minded in reading Scripture, and I hope the church, the Presbyterian Church, can practice that. To be honest, I don't know the functions or the workings of the church. I'm a 17-year-old boy, and the fact that the Presbyterian Church has a 17-year-old in the newspaper and on air imploring them to change their mind and to perhaps exhibit the compassion that they teach, well, I hope that fact alone is enough to implore them to change, and I hope we can see that. But yeah, I don't know.
Daniel, thanks so much for speaking to us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Now, no one likes being on a plane with a crying baby, parents included, but this guy threw a massive tantrum because he claimed a baby on his Southwest Airlines flight had been bawling for 45 minutes. He gave his fellow passengers a laugh, but he really let the crew have it.
We are in a tin can with a baby in a goddamn echo chamber, and you want to talk to me about being okay, because you're yelling. So is the baby!
Karma got him though. His trip to Orlando started with a lengthy conversation with police.
It is the worst when you have the kid on the plane that is screaming or crying.
Yeah.
My toddler is the pits on her flight, and he will sit behind someone and just jab the seat with his
I've
foot.
had that one, yeah.
And it is very annoying, but we were on a flight the other day and the man kept turning around, and I ignored him 5 times because I was like, I know it's annoying. And then I said, I'm sorry, mate. He's like, yeah, it's just I've got a sore back. And I was like, you're going to have something more sore in a minute.
Oh. Did you actually say that?
Did
No,
you
I
say
didn't,
that?
but I was thinking that. So then I'm just holding a toddler's toes the whole time so they don't kick. It's stressful when you're the parent.
They're the people you've got to feel sorry for in that situation, right? It's the parent, because they don't want... I mean, you might occasionally want someone to
Yeah, and
get
then
kicked
at
in
the end I started kicking the feet into the back of it.
I didn't even know babies could buy airline tickets. I thought there was an ad. Like, I didn't,
Yeah, how did it get
How do they get on the plane? I don't know.
No, it's also very cheap for them because they don't occupy...
Exactly.
Yeah,
I once had to hold... So I was sitting next to someone on a flight back from the UK and they had a baby, a lovely couple. The baby was screaming and they got up and went to the bathroom and they said, could you just hold the baby for a second?
While it's crying.
So I held the baby and the baby started crying even more.
How did it feel?
Of course it did.
And now I can relate to parents.
Oh, yeah.
I get it now.
You get it, yes.
Yeah.